The Mediterranean swallowed an entire royal city. More than 1,500 years ago, Cleopatra's palace vanished beneath the sea, and for centuries, nobody knew what went down with it. Not the gold, not the statues, not the chambers hidden under the royal floors. Then divers discovered something impossible: massive stone corridors, collapsed temples, strange sealed rooms buried under layers of mud and darkness. But one question terrified archaeologists more than anything else. What exactly was Cleopatra trying to hide? At the edge of ancient Alexandria stood the most powerful palace on earth. White marble walls reflected sunlight into the harbor. Purple banners snapped in the wind. Roman generals bowed before Egyptian queens, and beneath the palace, something else existed. The royal district stretched across a narrow strip of land called Antirrhodos Island. It was connected to Alexandria by bridges and guarded ports. Only the elite entered. Foreign visitors described golden ceilings, underground passages, fountains filled with perfume, and halls lined with giant statues. But the deeper chambers were never fully mapped. Then the earthquakes began. In the 4th century, the ground under Alexandria started shaking violently. Buildings cracked apart, the sea pushed inland, entire neighborhoods collapsed into the water. One disaster followed another. By the 8th century, Cleopatra's palace was gone forever, or so people thought. For nearly 1,300 years, fishermen sailed over the ruins without realizing it. The palace sat silently under 30 feet of dark Mediterranean water, hidden beneath sand, hidden beneath mud, hidden beneath history itself. Then, in the 1990s, underwater archaeologists made a shocking discovery. Huge stone blocks appeared on sonar scans. At first, researchers thought they were natural formations, but divers descended and found carved granite, broken columns, sphinxes. Statues taller than a human being. Alexandria's lost royal quarter had finally been found. The underwater ruins stretched farther than anyone imagined. Entire streets remained frozen under the sea floor. Temples still stood in pieces. Massive red granite slabs lay scattered like toys thrown by giants. And then came the statues. One diver's flashlight swept across the seabed and suddenly stopped. A gigantic face emerged from the darkness. Cold eyes, royal crown, calm expression. It was a colossal statue of a Ptolemaic ruler. Nearby stood a queen carved from black stone. Some experts believed it could represent Cleopatra herself. But the real mystery was not the statues, it was what they were protecting. Ancient writers described secret chambers beneath the royal palace, vaults holding sacred objects, private records, treasure reserves, possibly even hidden tombs. Cleopatra was not simply a queen. She was a strategist obsessed with survival. Every hallway inside her palace had a purpose. Every chamber controlled access to power. And power in Alexandria was dangerous. The palace stood at the center of political assassinations, betrayals, and Roman invasions. One wrong move could end a dynasty overnight. So Cleopatra built layers of protection. Private tunnels connected sections of the palace complex. Hidden docks allowed secret movement between ships and royal chambers. Underground storage rooms kept valuables away from invaders. Some passages may have led directly beneath temples. The palace was not just a home. It was a fortress disguised as paradise. Then Julius Caesar arrived. The Roman general entered Alexandria, chasing his enemy Pompey. Instead, he found Cleopatra. Ancient stories claim she secretly entered Caesar's quarters, wrapped inside a carpet or linen sack. But what happened next changed history forever. The palace became the center of a political war. Roman troops fought in Alexandria's streets. Fires spread through the city, ships burned in the harbor, and somewhere beneath the palace, royal servants rushed to protect Egypt's most valuable secrets. Some historians believe priceless scrolls and treasures were moved underground during the chaos. Others think sacred artifacts disappeared into sealed chambers that have never been found. Because beneath royal palaces in Egypt, hidden rooms were common. Priests used concealed chambers inside temples for rituals and storage. False walls hid ceremonial objects. Burial vaults were disguised beneath ordinary floors. Egyptian architects mastered the art of hiding things in plain sight. Cleopatra understood that system perfectly. She was highly educated. She spoke multiple languages. She studied politics, religion, and engineering. And unlike many rulers before her, she knew Rome was coming, which meant the palace had to protect more than wealth. It had to protect knowledge. Some researchers believe important state records were hidden somewhere beneath the royal quarter before Alexandria collapsed. Maps, military documents, financial archives, possibly even writings connected to the famous Library of Alexandria. That idea changed everything, because the library's destruction remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Millions of scrolls may have vanished forever, but some historians believe parts of the collection survive much longer than people think. And where would the safest storage place be? Under the royal palace. At night, the palace looked almost unreal. Oil torches reflected across marble floors. Musicians played beside indoor pools. Servants moved silently through hidden corridors. Foreign ambassadors waited nervously outside royal chambers. Nobody knew who Cleopatra trusted. Nobody knew who would disappear next. Because Alexandria was filled with spies. Roman informants blended into crowded markets. Greek merchants carried secret messages. Egyptian priests protected ancient traditions the Romans barely understood. Every conversation inside the palace could become a weapon. That is why underground rooms mattered so much. Secrets needed protection, and Cleopatra guarded secrets better than anyone. Ancient accounts describe private chambers beneath the royal district where only a handful of servants were allowed. Some carried documents, others transported sealed containers. Many were sworn to silence under threat of death. Then came the war with Rome. The harbor exploded with chaos. Ships crashed into one another. Fire spread across the water itself. Smoke covered Alexandria like a storm cloud. Citizens fled through narrow streets while soldiers battled beside temples. Some historians believe this was the moment priceless knowledge disappeared underground forever. Royal officials likely panicked. Treasures vanished from public vaults. Sacred objects disappeared from temples. Scroll collections may have been hidden beneath stone floors. Everything valuable moved into darkness, because Cleopatra knew defeat was possible, and she planned for it. She had watched Rome destroy kingdoms before. She understood how conquerors worked. If Octavian captured Alexandria, he would seize wealth first, he would seize records second, and he would erase anything threatening Roman power. So what if Cleopatra prepared hidden chambers long before the invasion even began? That theory explains several strange discoveries underwater. Divers found massive foundation structures beneath visible ruins. Some appeared layered, almost like separate underground levels. One section showed signs of deliberate reinforcement, using enormous granite blocks. Not decorative construction, defensive construction. Something important may have been stored there. Then archaeologists uncovered another clue. Coins from different decades were found concentrated in specific underwater zones. That suggested controlled storage areas once existed nearby, not random city debris, organized deposits. And there was something else, a strange lack of ordinary household objects in certain sections of the ruins. No cooking tools, No furniture remains, no market waste, just ceremonial stonework and official symbols, almost as if entire underground sections were reserved only for elite activity. Then came one of the most controversial theories surrounding Cleopatra's palace. Some historians believe parts of the royal district connected directly to ancient temple networks beneath Alexandria. That would have given rulers secret movement through the city during emergencies. Imagine Roman troops storming palace gates while Cleopatra escaped through hidden corridors below the streets. Imagine priests carrying sacred scrolls through underground tunnels lit only by torchlight. Imagine vault doors sealing behind them while the city above collapsed into war. It sounds cinematic. But ancient Egypt repeatedly used underground architecture for protection and secrecy, and Alexandria was one of the richest cities on earth. The deeper divers explored, the stranger the atmosphere became. Many describe the ruins as hauntingly silent. Statues appeared suddenly through clouds of drifting sediment. Broken pillars looked like drowned forests. Sometimes visibility dropped to almost nothing. Divers could barely see their own hands. One wrong turn meant becoming trapped between fallen stones weighing tons. Yet expeditions kept returning, because every discovery hinted at something larger hidden below. Then came one of the strangest finds of all. A partially buried granite slab covered what appeared to be an entrance. It was too heavy to move underwater, too unstable to excavate safely, but sonar suggested hollow space beneath it, a sealed room, possibly more. The discovery triggered global headlines. People immediately imagined lost treasures, gold, royal jewelry, Cleopatra's crown. But historians became interested in something else entirely: documents. Because in the ancient world, information was more valuable than treasure. Cleopatra ruled during one of history's most dangerous political eras. Rome was expanding rapidly. Egypt stood on the edge of collapse. Spies moved through Alexandria constantly. Political alliances changed overnight. Any records hidden beneath the palace could completely reshape our understanding of the ancient Mediterranean world. And there was another possibility, a terrifying one. Some researchers believe sacred rituals may have occurred beneath the royal palace itself. Egyptian rulers were deeply connected to religion. Temples often contained underground ceremonial chambers. Priests guarded sacred knowledge hidden from ordinary citizens. Cleopatra presented herself not only as queen, but as a living goddess. If private ritual chambers existed beneath the palace, they may have contained objects never meant to be seen by outsiders. That possibility fueled endless theories online. Some claimed hidden catacombs stretched beneath Alexandria. Others believed secret passages connected the palace to underground temples. One theory suggested Cleopatra prepared emergency escape routes beneath the city in case Rome invaded. And honestly, that theory made sense, because Cleopatra understood survival better than almost anyone in history. She manipulated alliances, controlled public image, used wealth strategically, mastered diplomacy, and when necessary, she weaponized mystery itself. Even her death remains controversial. Ancient writers claimed she died from an ASP bite. Others suspected poison. Some historians believe Rome covered up the truth entirely. If Rome manipulated the story of her death, what else did they hide? That question became impossible to ignore once underwater discoveries accelerated. Modern scanning technology revealed collapsed structures extending far beyond the visible ruins. Entire sections remain unexplored. Some are buried under layers of earthquake debris thicker than a house. And beneath all of it may sit chambers sealed since antiquity, waiting, silent beneath the Mediterranean. The more researchers studied Alexandria's destruction, the stranger the event appeared. The city did not disappear in one night. It died slowly. Earthquakes weakened foundations. Floodwaters pushed inland. Land gradually sank into the sea. Generation after generation watched parts of Alexandria vanish forever. Temples collapsed, roads cracked apart, palaces slipped beneath the waves, and during that chaos, countless objects disappeared underground. People hid valuables, priests protected sacred relics, royal officials concealed archives. Everything valuable moved below the surface. Some divers believe the most important discoveries have not even been reached yet. They point toward deeper sonar anomalies buried beneath layers of sediment, shapes too symmetrical to be natural, rectangular structures, possible stairways, possible chambers, and perhaps sealed vaults. One diver described descending beside a collapsed column and noticing airflow bubbles escaping from cracks beneath the stones. Tiny streams rising upward through the water. It suggested trapped air pockets below, empty spaces, rooms still hidden beneath the ruins. Imagine being the first human to enter one, your flashlight cutting through darkness untouched since Cleopatra ruled Egypt. Your footsteps landing where royal guards once stood. Your hands touching doors sealed before the birth of modern civilization. That possibility drives every new expedition, because archaeologists are not simply searching for treasure, they are searching for answers. Answers about Cleopatra, about Alexandria, about how knowledge vanished from history itself. And maybe that is why this mystery fascinates people so deeply. The palace was never accidental. The underground structures were never random. Every tunnel, every chamber, every hidden passage served a purpose: protection, secrecy, control. Cleopatra understood that empires rise and fall quickly, but hidden knowledge could survive centuries, even underwater. Today, tourists walk along Alexandria's shoreline without realizing an entire royal city rests beneath them. Below the waves lie shattered temples, colossal statues, broken palaces, and perhaps sealed chambers nobody has entered since the ancient world. And somewhere in that darkness, Cleopatra's final secrets may still survive. Not just treasure, not just gold, but evidence powerful enough to rewrite history itself. So what do you think is really hidden beneath Cleopatra's lost palace? A forgotten royal tomb? The last surviving texts from the Library of Alexandria? Or something so dangerous, the ancient world wanted it buried forever?